Hello and welcome. This is a live show. If you want to hop on the live, Facebook, Twitter, the YouTube, go subscribe, get it live. I go live every Monday, Thursday. It's a good show, great day. Happy October 21st, 2021, everybody. That's a lot of 10s and 20s and 21s. If you're into numerology, it's got to be a good day, right? It's got to be a good day. Look who we got. Going to break down some old school helmet action right here. We got the Browns. We got the Denver Broncos old school logo with the D and the Broncos snorting it out, some smoke. Bringing it, baby. You know what I'm talking about? Boom! Old school Monday football. I just went back and looked at every snap from the Denver Broncos against the Las Vegas Raiders. I watched most of the Browns game. I didn't feel like putting myself through the torture of watching another awful game like that. But we will talk about the film in just a second. Before we do that, make sure you're going to Iggy's fantasyandbetting.com. Got articles there for you, new weekly articles every day, who to start, who to go pick up on the waiver wire. Look back and see how we did on the betting. There's no punches pulled there. There's some bad weeks if you want to go look at it. That's just who we are. You know, I want to be authentic and I want to be transparent with you. And that's who I am. I'm honest to a fault. And I've experienced that in more ways than one in life. But right now, the newest article, look, all these articles are 4-5 minutes, some of them a little longer. Most of these you can read on a cigarette smoke break or whatever, short on the toilet, whatever you need. You can get all this reading done quite quickly, okay? There's nothing long about it. Let's go ahead and plug into the Player Pine. So this is my longest running article. Like I said, once again, this is what I used to do for Sleeper. This is something I did for Sleeper as well. Let's get back for you. When I go with this angle, there's not as much to see for you live people, and I want y'all to see this beautiful face. Got my necklace on, you know what I'm saying? Betting necklace style. But, it's my longest running article to get back to Player Pine, Iggy's fantasyandbetting.com. Go check it out. It's the first article on there when you click on blog articles. And it's a play on starter sit, right? Play. You know, when I grew up, they said I would put him on the pine. You know, that meant that he's on the bench. And, you know, when I was first playing sports, it was just a flat piece of wood. A lot of times they get warped, but that was it's called the pine, right? And the play is obvious to play. So this is my version of start and sit that I've been writing. I started writing this the very first year Sleeper was out. So I've continued it since then. So this article is just as old as Sleeper, right? Pretty cool to think about, actually. But this article, like I said, it's pretty to the point, but it covers the starter sit that people don't pay attention to, particularly IDP people. If you're just in a small IDP league, most people feel like they can just rotate. And I put that in there. I try to cover shallow leagues, beginners, and people that have been playing IDP in 16-team leagues as long as I have, which is a decade. There's something for everybody to get on here. Kickers, defense, and IDPs. Let's go. Week 7 plays, no doubt about it. I'm going with the Saints, baby. They just had a bye week. That defense has been carrying them through some very poor offensive play. So they're going to have to probably do it again. The Seahawks don't have the greatest defense. But it's a long road trip. Sean Payton better have them ready to go. And they got studs on every level. It's time for Cameron Jordan to step up and get a sack. As long as Demario Davis keeps covering the field everywhere he's been doing, that's going to be great. And Malcolm Jenkins could seriously have a good game. We're talking interception, another high volume tackle game. I mean, he's a stud. I told you he's played more snaps than any defensive player over the past 6 years. The Saints should be right to go against they're playing against a second-string quarterback and a second-string running back. That should be pretty good to go. Another play, here you go, Thursday night, Denver Broncos. Look at this. Why would I take the Saints? They're playing against the backup backfield, the second-string backfield. Guess what? The Broncos are doing the same thing on the road against a second-string quarterback, third-string running back, and a banged-up O-line. Now, when I went back and watched film, the Broncos were having a lot of trouble generating pressure against the Raiders. That's one thing I noticed right away. The Raiders beat them essentially on big plays. A big play to Carr, big play to Edwards. Drake had a big run, and there was a couple more passes to Ruggs, which they're going to throw those. But you got to try to eliminate those big plays. Otherwise, the Raiders really didn't do much, but the Broncos were able to generate pressure. I think they're going to have pressure. They've lost 3 in a row. Von Miller's already came out. Well, we'll leave Von Miller in a second, but I think the rhythm's going to be off in Cleveland. They don't have any playmakers. They don't have somebody like Ruggs that can just burn people deep. They don't have somebody like Renfro that can have all the quick acceleration moves and create separation, the Broncos should win this game, even though they're still underdogs. Kickers, it's kind of weird. It's almost the same two as last week. It is the same two. Matt Gay, he's still available in a lot of leagues out there. I went and picked up, if you picked up the Rams defense, like I told you in this exact same article last week, they were the 26th ranked defense. I looked at their schedule. I was like, I didn't even use a waiver. They were available after waivers are cleared. And I went and scooped them up, and I was like, man, what are people thinking here? This needs to be a team people are attacking because the Rams have such a favorable schedule the next 4 weeks, a la Matt Gay. It's the revenge game. A lot of people like these games. There's a lot of revenge games. There was a great one last night, Fournier for the Knicks against the Celtics. We'll say basketball for the end because I know y'all love football. But Matt Gay, this is Matthew Stafford versus Jared Gough. The true swap for quarterbacks, and they're playing their former teams. You got to love the schedule makers. I love it. And Matt Gay, he's got the better offense. He's got the better quarterback. He's got the better coach. So that alone makes me think Matt Gay should have a great game. Mason Crosby, he's still available in a lot of leagues. Go check him out. They're playing Washington football team. Washington football team's given up 186 points. That's the most for any team this year. Go take a look. Another revenge game. It's a revenge week. Everybody's calling this a bye week. I had to replace one person. This is a revenge week for me. DeForest Buckner, baby. He's probably not available in deeper leagues, but you people that just rotate 1 or 2 IDPs in your league, he's available. He's going to go exploit that bad San Francisco 49ers offensive line. He's going to destroy them. I like DeForest Buckner. It's a very important game for the Colts, okay? They've got 2 wins right now. I think, they've got 2 wins. They desperately need to get that 3rd win. 3 and 4's got a lot better ring to it than 2 and 5. So they're going to be playing hard. Myles Garrett, he's definitely owned in probably every league out there. But let me tell you something. Him and Von Miller are both Texas A&M Aggies. They're both playing bad offensive lines. So Myles Garrett's probably going to have a great game. Guess what? If he's taken, let's go out there and grab Jadeveon Clowney, baby. He just came off the questionable tags. He's going to have some opportunities to get some sacks as well. He's probably available. If you want some Thursday night players, there you go. And then deeper leagues, check out Jay Simmons in Tennessee. He could have a couple QB hits, or he could at least flush Mahomes out of the pocket. He should be able to get a few runs if they come his way too. Linebackers, Von Miller. He was already on record saying he's already said he's going to destroy who's ever across from him Thursday. He's not worried about their battered offensive line. I think he went back and watched the film too and realized he wasn't doing a good enough job, and he needs to generate more pressure than what he did against the Raiders. Plus, he's playing his former teammate, Case Keenum. As a defensive player, I got to play against one former teammate of mine on the offensive side of the ball. I tackled him like 4 times. You have motivation playing your former teammates, especially if they were like a quarterback or somebody that was, a prominent person on your team. I think Von Miller gets at least 1 sack, probably more. Let's talk about another stud. If you're going to notice, there's a lot of Tennessee players coming up this week. I think, it's good to hear some people that are paid, good money, $100,000+ salaries to just talk sports. It's good to hear a few of them go back and reiterate what I've been saying for a long time. Maybe they're listening to the show. Y'all are just pay me money and let's go get this thing rolling. But people just look at stats, and you got to look at a certain game script. You got to look at injuries, and you got to look at how a team goes about running their offense and their defense. There's a lot of Tennessee Titans this week because the Chiefs have a high snap volume. They run a lot of plays. They like to run quick plays. They like to get a lot of looks for Patrick Mahomes out there so he can take advantage of defenses. Having said that, a linebacker I really like, David Long, Tennessee. He's been a tackling machine, man. He's a 27th ranked linebacker right now, so he's probably available in most smaller leagues out there. Do not hesitate. He is the tackling guy for the Tennessee Titans. He shores up the middle of that field quite well, which allows Landry to do what he does better, pressure the edge. They got Dupree, but Long is the really guy. Deeper leagues, let's take out B. Okorihiki, Indianapolis Colts. He's quietly been really good. And then Cole Holcomb could see a lot of snap volume at the Green Bay Packers, control the clock, run a lot of offensive plays. Holcomb for the Washington football team could see a lot. Defensive backs, Kevin Byrd, Tennessee Titans. He's had a knack, man, for getting the ball. He's already got 3 interceptions, 29 tackles. He's the only holdover from that secondary for the Tennessee Titans. So, when you hold over just one person, you at least know that he can do what you need to do in your scheme. He's a Pro Bowler. I really like Kevin Byrd this week as well. Go pick him up, play him if you got him against the Chiefs. I think the Titans are going to have an excellent defensive performance. Like they're going to have high volume defensive snaps, so it should be there for him. Another person I really like, look back on film, he's still everywhere. He's always getting tackles outside the hash marks. And the team that he's playing, they dump it off in the flats. They throw a lot of quick routes to the tight end. So Jonathan Abram, he could have a career-type game. I'm telling y'all this right now. He could have a career-type game against the Philadelphia Eagles this week. Jonathan Abram plays for the Las Vegas Raiders. He's already kind of known as an aggressive hard hitter. His coverage skills have really picked up this year, and he's still being allowed freedom to run. Gus Bradley is using him like an Earl Thomas, but on even more. He puts him all over the field. He feels comfortable with him in different packages. And Jonathan Abram could have a 13, 14 tackle game against this offense that dumps it off to Miles Sanders quite a bit. Those in the quick passes to Devontae Smith, quick passes to Rager. Jonathan Abram could have a career game. Deeper leagues, take a look at DJ Reed. He's a corner for Seattle. He gets targeted often. Jameis might throw a few passes his way. He could have an interception, could have high tackles. All right, let's get to the Pines a little quicker. Let me tell you something. Part of the Pine articles, if you got Buffalo Bills, the number one ranked defense, you go look at their schedule the next 7-8 weeks. Oh, my God. They are going to destroy teams the next 7-8 weeks. So hopefully you didn't go drop Buffalo. If somebody did go drop them, go pick them up and put them away, and then you got your defense the rest of the season. Don't worry about it. Not worried about matchup. Not worried about any of that doo-doo. You have a number one defense the rest of the season. That's worth its weight in gold in fantasy. For an active team, the Chicago Bears are the third-ranked defense, believe it or not. They make a lot of sacks. They force a lot of 3-and-outs. They keep the yardage total pretty low. And they're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who no defense wants any part of. I mean, they just went from Aaron Rodgers. Now you go to Tom Brady. Yikes. Tom Brady doesn't have a defense. The Buccaneers don't have a great defense, so they have to score a lot of offensive points. They're going to put a lot of offensive points up against Chicago Bears. Robert Quinn could be out. That's one of their he's pressuring the quarterback more than Khalil Mack is. So that's a big blow. Put Chicago Bears on your pine. Tyler Bass, go read the article because it's weird because I have the defense and the kickers, and I put the exact same words for Tyler Bass as I did Buffalo Bills. Tyler Bass should not be dropped from your team. Put the number one kicker on the pine and enjoy his extremely easy schedule the rest of the way. He's the number one kicker. Put him away. Like if you double down with the kicker, special teams in Buffalo, and you have them, what a beautiful thing it is that you're not going to have to worry about replacing your kicker or your defense for the rest of the season. Think about that, guys. You don't have to worry about replacing your kicker or your defense the rest of the season. That's pretty impressive. Same with Greg the Legs Airline. He's a top 7 kicker. Put him on the bye. Dallas has a high-powered offense. They're always going to score a lot of points. They screwed him out of a couple kicks last week that made us sweat out that game. Could have been really easy if they just kicked the points. But he's an excellent kicker. He's in good shape. He's on a good offense. Keep Greg the Leg. You want somebody to pine this week? How about Chase Mclaughlin, Cleveland? Case Keenum, third-string running back. Probably going to be nasty, cool weather at nighttime, I'm assuming. It could be a very much a bad offensive performance for the Cleveland Browns. If I went and looked at his bet line, he's at 6.5, and it's at the plus. So they're telling you they don't expect a lot of points from the Cleveland Browns as well. Hey, Daniela Hunter, I'm an owner. I'm a truther. I put him on the pine. Guess what? Same thing. We got a defensive lineman. We're not worried about who the opponent is. We're going to plug and play Daniela Hunter, and we're not going to worry about that position the rest of the season. Go put Daniela Hunter on your bench. Hey, Solomon Thomas had a forced fumble last week against the Broncos. He's playing really good, and the truth is Yannick Ngakoue is playing really well. That's another thing when we go back and break down the film before we talk about Thursday. The Raiders were able to get constant pressure on Teddy Bridgewater. Max Crosby's a freaking stud, but I'm assuming he's known in your leagues. But Solomon Thompson and Yannick Ngakoue, they might have a bad week this week against Jalen Hurts, who can he dumps it off quick. They have, the ball's out of his hands pretty often, and when it's not, he runs around. And I'm sorry, Solomon Thomas and Yannick Ngakoue. Jalen Hurts is faster than you. Micah Parsons is an excellent linebacker. Eric Kendricks is a top 5 linebacker. I'm stashing those guys. I'm putting them away. Most of the time, there's good linebackers out there if you're in a league that doesn't play with a whole lot of linebackers. But if you're in a league like mine where you got to play with 1 linebacker plus 3 IDPs, which usually means you have more than 1 linebacker, go ahead and put those guys on the pine. You don't have to worry about it. Keep an eye on Parsons later in the year. He could fizzle out. He's got that rookie kind of the seasons are longer for them, so they're harder. But Eric Kendricks is a year in, year out stud. No need to worry about it. Put him on the pine. You got your linebacker the rest of the season. Robert Quinn tested positive for COVID. Let's keep an eye on that. Derwin James. You should never, ever, 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 ever drop Derwin James. I don't care if it's one IDP roster in an 18 league. You're freaking rocking Derwin James the rest of the season, man. When he's healthy, he is like any other IDP I've ever seen. I love watching. I find myself, I try to watch scheme and how they present stuff on certain situation. What's the personnel? When I'm watching the Chargers, man, I just get entranced with Derwin James, and I just start watching him, man. He's a stud. Do not go drop him. Put him on the pine, and then you have your IDP the rest of the season. Even if you're in a one IDP 18 league, I don't care. Derwin James is worth that start every single freaking week, man. That's the Player Pine. Go check it out. There's nothing too much fancy about it. Quick read. We just went through it. Let's get to the matter at hand, though. We're talking Denver Broncos at Cleveland Browns, baby. Big Thursday night matchup. Both these teams kind of wallowing in the mire, not playing good football. The Browns have lost 2 in a row. Broncos have lost 3 in a row. AFC powerhouses. There's a lot of good teams in the AFC. There's good teams in each. These are probably 2 of the best 2 divisions, the AFC West and the AFC North in the conference, no doubt. Arguably the NFL. You got the Baltimore Ravens with the number 1 ranked. They're the number 1 AFC team right now. You got the red hot Steelers coming back. It looks like the Bengals are for real. Go over to the West. Well, the Raiders just kick your ass. The Chiefs are in there. I'm not sure if you know if they're good or not. And everybody was ready to crown the Chargers. I'm not so ready to crown the Chargers, but they're playing good football. So these are 2 good divisions. This is a conference game. It's very important. It could have playoff breaking scenarios, tie breaking scenarios come week 18. This game has a lot more weight on it than it'd be implied for a Thursday night week 7 football game. I'll tell you that much right now. Let's go look at that. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about this game, man. This is going to be a good one. I've already placed a few bets, man. It's fun. I like looking at the bets. I placed a $50 bet as soon as the Raider game was over last week. And I knew that. I watched the Browns game. Actually, it was after the Browns game. They both had afternoon games. And I was like, man, the Browns look like crap. I'm taking my Broncos on the road. It was major odds. It was at plus 170. Now that it's already plus 110. Let me read you the odds. Broncos plus 2. Browns -2 on the spread. They're both at -10. Over under of 41, super low. That's one of the lowest lines we've seen all year. 41.5 points on the over under. The bookies are telling you it's a low scoring game. I think the Broncos could score quite a few points. The money line plus 110 still on the Broncos, -130 for the Browns. They're still telling you the Browns are the favorites. I don't know why. They're banged up on the defense. I mean, they're banged up all across the offense. I don't know how they're going to move the ball against the secondary with Case Keenum. I do expect the Broncos to win. If you want a plus bet, plus 110 on the Broncos tonight. Easy money, baby. Easy money. Let's go back and look at some of these film notes before we get into the betting. I noticed a lot of what it was hard for me not to watch the Raiders some too, because they're kind of 2 opposite scheme plans. The Raiders will bunch up, but we call trips. Sometimes it's trips if it's out wide. I call it bunch if it's tight to the formation. The Raiders run a lot of that because they have speed guys, Renfro and Ruggs, and they have Waller in there. So when Ruggs is like in the 1, which is the closest to the sideline, he's usually just trying to run some deep route. The Broncos had a tendency to bring a lot of non-people up front, and they would just leave Simmons back there by himself. Man, Ruggs would just take off on a burner. There wasn't even no faking or nothing. Boop, I'm just running by you. So, but the Broncos, to get back to them, what they do is they like to spread the ball out. They like to run a lot of play action. I have so many play action, even early in the game before they were even set, like trying to establish the run, play action. But what they're really trying to do, I noticed, is they're trying to spread Sutton out, get him one-on-one. They usually leave Fant on the line. I noticed a lot of times they'll put, 2 receivers out wide, 1 out there, single back, and they'll try to get Fant on a block, and he frees up. He got a lot of targets, Fant did, but Sutton got a lot more. And then what else I noticed is Gordon started the game. They're going to give him the ball, and then it seems like there's no rhyme or rhythm. It seems like there's a 50% share pretty much per drive. Whoever the running back is this drive, that's who they're going to do. Williams had 1 big run. Other than that, he's not really effective. That's usually what he does. When it's a right play call and it's ran well, he can get the yards, but he needs a lot of that. Gordon is in a 2-minute drill. They used him in the 2-minute offense before halftime. It was garbage time at the end, so they didn't use him as much. But I do like Gordon slightly better than Williams, and Williams is the one getting all the hype out there. I think that's because there's a lot of dynasty players. Like, once the running back's 3 or 4 years old in dynasty, most people don't have much need for him unless they're Derrick Henry, So just be careful taking a lot of dynasty advice out there, because I do think Gordon looked a lot better on film than Williams did. And he's trusted more in the pass catching game. So they do try to isolate Fant. They do try to isolate Sutton. Teddy Bridgewater trusts Patrick a lot. He's got a really good catch radius. Fant had an almost touchdown called back. Sutton had a big catch called back. So Teddy's targeting them. If they get up ahead, I'm not sure they're going to be passing. They were behind they were behind all of the game against the Raiders. So it might have dictated what they normally do. A lot of play action. Bridgewater's getting hit a lot. I think they need to get away from the play action and just try to let Bridgewater get just that extra second maybe without him having to hand the ball off so he can look out, That's what I noticed. I didn't go back and watch the Cleveland Browns game this week because A, there's not a lot of Case Keenum tape out there for me. B, there's second string running backs. I don't know who the offensive line is going to be, but defensively they kind of do the same thing. They're trying to control you. They're going to try to take away the big play. If you notice, Cleveland doesn't. Well, I'll say that if you look at the Chargers game, they gave away a few, but for the most part, they're not giving up the big play. And they're going to try to keep everything underneath you. Now, what I did notice is Sutton I didn't look at I don't really go back and look at the stats. I just look at the film. And what I did notice is, without having the numbers, is Sutton garnished a lot of targets. He's feeling good. He's a big, strong guy. When you look at him on film, man, he's bigger than any cornerback lined up across from him. That's really obvious to see. So I really like Sutton in this one. His touchdown is at 200. If you like touchdown bets, I know a lot of you guys do, and girls. And then Fant touchdowns at plus 230. I like both of those options pretty much. My for sure bet so far is Denzel Ward over 3.5 tackles. That's the IDP prop. I will give you another video just for that prop coming later. He's had over 4 or more tackles in all but 2 games. So 4 out of the 6 so far. And I do it goes back to, I'm not I look at analytics. I'll use the numbers available to me. I'll look at stats, no doubt. Like I just told you, Denzel Ward had over 4 tackles or more in all but 2 games this year. But how is the game going to be dictated? I expect the Denver Broncos to control the clock, to have more offensive snaps, so therefore give him the Browns defense more defensive snaps. And Denzel Ward, if he's going to be locked up on Sutton and they're going to be targeting Sutton, he's going to have opportunities to make his tackles on Sutton. He also does come up occasionally on the run game. And I've already told you, Melvin Gordon runs a lot of 2-minute offenses. He catches a lot of stuff out in the flats. That could bring Ward up for a tackle as well. 3.5 tackles. Oh, tackles plus assists, guys. Remember, and there might be new listeners, I always only do tackles plus assists. I won't say I won't ever do it. So far this season, I haven't done tackles. I haven't done assists. I've only done tackles plus assists. They each count as 1. So if Ward can just get in on 4 tackles, 5 tackles, this prop is met. If you want something a little safer, Anthony Ward is at 7.5. He definitely commands the middle of that defense. There's not really anybody that can really tackle like him. The other stars on their defense are edge pressure bringers and Clowney and Garrett. So they really asked Walker to cover the middle of the field quite a bit now that he's been healthy. His tackles plus assists is at 7.5. So once again, it's at negative 135. The Ward line is the typical negative 115 standard player prop angle. So those are 2 defensive props. Like I told you, that's how my mind works. That's why I'm looking at the game script this way. And I've already told you for another offensive player prop, let's go back and look at his rushing plus receiving. Right now, Melvin Gordon over 11.5 receiving yards. I told you he's a 2-minute back. That's essentially 2 catches, and he'll go over that. His reception lines, let's see, Courtland Sutton has 4.5. The highest reception line, it's at negative 160. Feel really good about it. Melvin Gordon's is at negative 160 at 1.5. So they're pretty much telling you that they expect that to happen. If for any reason the Broncos try to get a 2-minute offense going, I can guarantee you Gordon's going to catch 1 pass, and that might be all we need. So I feel really good about that. His rushing plus receiving is 56.5, which is lower than Javonte Williams. So I do prefer Gordon on the film. He looks a lot more crisp to me. He's lighter. He may not have the burst Williams has, but they trust him on third down situations as well. So I do like Melvin Gordon. Maybe you want to go 1.5 catches, even if they're negative. That's pretty easy, but the odds are negative 160, where his reception line at 11.5 is negative 115, which is pretty standard. The rushing line for Gordon is 40.5. It's 47.5 for Javonte Williams. Receptions, it's receiving yards. Yeah, Sutton 64.5, Noah Fant 42.5, Tim Patrick 44.5. They don't even have Cleveland Brown props up on DraftKings right now. That's how bad of a performance I'm expecting it to be. Receptions 3.5 for Noah Fant at -160. Not a whole lot to gain there. Let's look at a few quarterback props. So they got Teddy out. Teddy's in here. That's 228.5, 218 for Case Keenum. I'm just staying away from those. I do expect it to be under more than over, though. And like I said, we've covered the defensive props. Let me tell you the kickers, though. Like I said, Chase Mclaughlin, under 6.5 at -135. Brandon McManus, 6.5. It's the standard line of 110. Let's see. Go back to tackles plus assists. I already told you Ward, 7.5. Surtan's at 4.5. That's plus odds. Darby's at 3.5 as their corners. Justin Simmons is at 5.5. They keep him so deep. It's hard for him to be involved in a lot of the plays. So if you're looking for an underplay, 5.5 tackles plus assists, that's pretty low for a stud safety, but there you go. Yeah, we'll stay away from all the rest of those bets. Let's build the same game. Let's take a look. Building the same game parlay. Don't forget about Walker. Fant had a touchdown and he had one called back. So he had one in garbage time, and he had one that his toes were just barely over the line. So let's take a look there. Denver Broncos we're going to look at. We're building the same game parlay. So let's just do Broncos to cover a 3.5 point spread. I like that one. Total points. Let's tease the under. Let's tease the under. 51.5, man. That's not much points if somebody goes off, but I just don't see it. So I took the max line. The max line on the under is 51.5 on DK. We took Denver Broncos at plus 3.5. That bet alone is evens, and I feel really damn good about it. That might be a double unit bet. But let's just go and see what else we can add to it. They kind of limit what you can and can't add. I mean, if you add an anytime touchdown, you have a good chance. Let's see. Courtland Sutton, Noah Fant, Tim Patrick. 54.5 yards for him. Oh, man. I would think he's going to do that. But that's still a lot of yards. That's not a lot of yards, but it's a lot more than I want to feel comfortable with. Case Keenum passing yards. Let's see here. Let's take another look. Just trying to build something safe. And you know what? We may just go with this two-leg at plus 100, even odds. Broncos don't even have to win. Max score, just keep it under 50 points. I see that happening. That's very difficult to not think. Let's see. Race to 5 points. I'm trying to just find something else that I feel like super safe on. Let's see if we can tease Melvin Gordon's rushing yards. 34.5 rushing yards. Man, that's a tough one. Let's see, 40 plus. Let's see what it does at 34.5 yards. Is it worth adding? Bumps it to 180 for three things to happen, including Melvin Gordon having 34.5 yards. I like his receiving product, but we don't have it on there. You know what? Do we want to build it up safely? I feel like Gordon's safe for 34.5 yards, but they don't have their guards. So let's just keep it at a 2-pick same game parlay, guys. Hey, sometimes we just keep it simple. Plus 100, even odds. Broncos to cover a 3.5 point spread, under 51.5 total points. That is so crazy to say in the NFL, but that's still 10 plus. That's 10 points on the original spread line. I don't see Cleveland scoring. I don't know how they're going to generate a big play, and Broncos aren't going to let them just march down the field on them. So that's it. That's our bet. You know what? I might bet pretty heavy on that because I feel like the Broncos are going to win. We covered ourselves a last-second field goal to win the game. We're still covered if the Broncos lose that way. 51.5 points under. As long as Sutton doesn't go off, I think we're safe. I like it. It's just a two-leg. We only need two things to happen. That's always a better. That's always a better parlay when you need two things to happen instead of three. All right, let's get a quick look into the NBA, man. Been killing the NBA bets lately, guys. Not gonna lie. Not gonna, bluff it. We've been off to a hot start. Even taking the Warriors as an underdog was hot start. I took the Nuggets. They're an underdog. That's a hot start. Vukacek's got the rebounds out the wazoo. Jokic had easily double-double. That's my guy. That's an easy bet. I love my big men. I love the centers in the NBA. That's the angles I look at. They tried to add more props. That's just giving me an easier way to take it. That's their fault. I don't know why they did that. They shouldn't have done that to me because the basketball bets are coming easy, easy, easy. DFS is a little harder. I have had 2 bad nights on the DFS. I don't put as much money down on the DFS as I do my betting, though. But just real quick, we got 3 games. I got to talk about the NBA, so if you're done, if you're just an NFL person, that's fine. Got my team, though. Got Luka Doncic, baby. The Mavericks at Atlanta Hawks. What a game to kick it off on TNT. 2.5 point spread for the Hawks, 225.5 points on the over-under. -140 for the Hawks, +120 for the Mavericks. Really tight line. I might stay away from the line, but it's a really tight one. Then after that, we got Bucks at the Heat, 2.5 point spread, 224.5 on the money line, on the over-under, +120 for the Heat, -140 for the Bucks. The Bucks have already played, and the Heat I don't think have, so that should be interesting. Then we got the Clippers at the Warriors. The Clippers haven't played either, man. Clippers haven't played either. The Warriors have. That should be a good game. Warriors 3.5 point spread. I do feel good about the Warriors. 228 on the over-under. -160 for the Warriors to +140 for the Clippers. Let's build a little mouse. We got 3-game action. All right, we're going to go mouse it. We're going to be mousing it out here. Or we're going to be moosing it. We're going to see if we're going to take the over or the under. You know what? This is just a fun bet to me, and we're going to look at it. We're going to tease where are the points going to be. The Heat don't score a lot of points. The Bucks do. The Hawks can score a lot of points. The Mavericks don't really play defense. So let's take that our over. We're going to tease that one. We're going to tease the line down and take the over on the Mavericks and the Hawks. Baby, let's go. Luka, do it for us. I really like player props in basketball. That's really my main angle. Not going to try to mask it. Alternate spread. Mavericks +11.5. Damn, that's all we get. So I either have to do the 2.5 point spread or the 11.5 point spread. Okay, that's fine. We'll do that. 11.5 point spread for the Mavericks. There's no in between, so that's what we're going with. And then Bucks Heat. Oh wait, I didn't want the spread. Alternate totals. That's what I wanted. That's what we wanted. We messed up on that one. Oh, and it's just on the Bucks. We're going to take the under. We'll tease it to under 230, under 237. Let's see what that does for our bet slip. We got, what do we have? So we're mousing it. We're mousing it right now, guys. Got the mouse right here. Mouse in the house. NBA mouse in the house. We got a 3 straight bet parlay. Let's take a look here. So this comes out to +156 odds. You got to love it on a tease bet. I personally wouldn't have teased the Mavs to 11.5, but that's all they gave us. So for our mouse bet, the MO money line, we got Golden State Warriors -160. We were teased the under on the Bucks and the Heat to under 237. And then on the spread, we got the Dallas Mavericks to cover an 11.5 point spread. I love a good mouse bet. This teaches you how to straight bet. You need to tease your straight bet lines. Don't just give what the bookies give you. They're pretty damn smart, and they'll get it within a couple points most of the time. So if you tease it, we got a good save option bet. +156. So for the UK crowd, that comes in at 2 to 3. You put in $2, I think you get 3, right? No, 2 to 5. That's right. Put in $2, you get 5 back. So you win 3 technically. That's really hard. I'm gonna get that conversion down for you guys. That is an awesome mouse bet. Don't forget about the same game parlay. Don't forget about Denzel Ward. Don't forget about Melvin Gordon. And my God, how lucky are we to have football and basketball the same night? NBA 75, the 75th year of the NBA. Glory, 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 hallelujah. Denver Broncos. Are you in Broncos country, baby? I'm over here in Colorado. Let's go, Denver. Let's watch this game. Hey, hit me up with any of your lineup questions. I've already gotten a trade review this morning, and I really love it. I love being a part of you guys. I love being part of the fantasy and betting community. Let's go Broncos, baby. Y'all have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.